so I am just going to dive right into this video and I am going to, I don't know, these videos are really personal for me. This one is really, I was going to do this a while ago, but I kind of chickened out quite a few times. But today I was in the shower and I heard God say, you have to tell them. And I cried because I didn't want to do it and I was afraid, but I am here. He told me he does not give us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So I am here to share what God places on my heart. So I am just going to let him guide me through this video. So I am here today to talk to you guys about the 4 stages of divorce. I have posted my postpartum depression testimony, and with that testimony, I did say that I was going to do a part 2, so that is what this is my part 2, and it's my divorce testimony. I have not shared at all on social media about my divorce because it is something that is very sensitive to me and very personal. I do want to just go ahead and say that my ex-husband and I, we had a pretty smooth divorce and we actually get along really well. So I don't plan, this is not a bashing video, this is not that kind of video. I don't plan on sharing a lot of details about my divorce or the reason why we got divorced or anything like that. That, out of respect for him and myself, I do plan on keeping that to myself. But I do hope that my story, my testimony, will help somebody get through their divorce, their breakup, or even just a hard time that they may be going through. So yeah, there are 5 stages of divorce that I do want to talk about. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure, just kind of throw that out there that we are on good terms. And I don't plan on sharing personal information about this. So, other than what I dealt with through my divorce personally, because I think that people tend to talk about, oh, you were arguing about money and, arguing over the kids and what you see on TV with divorces, but people don't tend to talk about the emotional turmoil that comes with divorce, and that is what I experienced more than anything. So I will be going over what that looked like for me. So yeah, there are 5 stages of divorce, and I am going to be referencing my notes here, but there is denial, bargaining, anger, depression, and acceptance. So those stages don't come in any particular order. You may experience them multiple times in multiple different orders. That is what I experienced. So yeah, I did experience denial multiple times. Denial came to me initially. We separated about this time last year. We had only been married for 5 months, so it was pretty much a shock for both of us. Neither one of us planned on, separating, divorcing, but that's where we were, and it was a shock, and I was in denial. And I didn't expect it to come, so I was hoping that, it wouldn't happen the way it looked like it was happening. So I was kind of holding on to hope that things would be okay. And it was put in my heart that things would be okay. I decided after a while, after some experiences, some time with God, that I wasn't going to give up on my marriage However, that stage was a little bit different than I expected it to be, the denial stage. Um, I feel like the denial stage is good because it sometimes helps you function and get through things. I was able to, hold on to hope and like, oh yeah, so I'm gonna keep on doing laundry and keep on, now I can go back to work. I'm gonna look for a job and I'm gonna do these things because I'm not crying and I'm doing well because I know everything's gonna be okay because I'm in denial. So that's where I was for a few months. And, when things got a little bit real for me, probably in March or so, or I'm sorry, in April, it's about time where he moved, I experienced what would be called the bargaining stage. So I just want to say for the bargaining stage, it's okay if you experience the bargaining stage. A lot of people are like, oh, well, if they don't want you, let them go, or what is that, Fantasia? If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Like, listen, if you experience the bargaining stage, like, it is okay. Like, you love that person, you want to be with that person, you married that person, and you want to make things work. So, asking them to go to counseling, asking them, what can we do to fix this? Like, that's okay. And that's what I did. That's where I was. I didn't want to give up on my marriage. So, that's where I was. I was bargaining. And I was saying, remember these old times. And, I was bargaining. I was bargaining, yo. I was really bargaining. And it's okay, to put yourself out there to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And some people might say, oh, well, that's stupid, you look stupid. But no, it's perfectly fine to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And it's a part of the healing process, So I just want to say to anyone who experiences that vulnerable bargaining stage that is normal. With that said, if someone wants to leave, if married or not, God does not believe in divorce, but married or not, if someone wants to leave, you cannot make them stay. You cannot change their heart. So you do need to allow them that space to leave. You need to allow them that space to make that decision for themselves and to leave. There's nothing that you can say or do at that point to convince them to stay, because if they have actually come to you and said, hey, this is what I want, they've thought about that for a while. They've considered it. They've pondered over this. They've looked into it. Like, they thought about it. So you kind of need to let them go. Even if you didn't let that go yet. Even if in your heart you're still holding on to hope. So yeah, that's what the bargaining stage looked like for me. I was still holding on to hope, and I was still trying to get him to see why he should stay and why we should work things out. And when that didn't work, I experienced anger. We were still going through spending time together for Memorial Day. It seemed like every interaction we had, I would always be angry, Just every interaction we had, I would be angry. If the sun didn't come up, I would probably be mad at him and blame him for it. So in my heart, I was just very angry at him. And I kind of relate this to Pharaoh in Exodus. Moses would say to Pharaoh, let my people go. But no matter what Moses would say, Pharaoh wasn't receptive. Pharaoh wasn't trying to hear it. And I feel like no matter what he said to me, I couldn't hear what he was saying. I couldn't understand. And I wasn't receptive to what he was saying because my heart had become so hardened by my anger, by my hurt, by my fears, that I wasn't receptive to anything that he had to say. And all I could hear was divorce, divorce, divorce. And that was it. So that's about the time, if you hear if you see my divorce or my postpartum depression testimony, that was about the time that God started to pull on me, like, hey, come to church, come back to me. And once I really surrendered to God, and I like was like, wait, God, I left you, like, that's when my heart began to soften again, and God began to work on me. And once that started to happen, I entered a different stage. I got back into the denial stage. So I don't necessarily, it's really hard to say it was denial. I know that it was denial because I didn't think that we were going to get divorced. But at the same time, I was holding on to hope that God was going to restore my marriage. So although it was kind of denial, I more so call it faith. I had faith that God was going to restore my marriage. I had faith that everything was going to be okay. My faith kept me going. My faith that everything was going to be okay is what kept me strong. So the denial stage for me came back in the summer. I started working, and I would spend my lunch breaks praying. I would pray so hard for my marriage, and I would pray so hard for my husband, and that's how I spent my lunches. And it wasn't always about him, and it wasn't always about my marriage. I would just spend time with God, but I just had so much faith that everything was going to be okay, and I was in denial that the divorce was going to happen, because you couldn't tell me anything different. Like, I just knew that on that day of our divorce, because we were getting closer to a divorce date. We had already, filed papers and things. So I just knew that on the day of our divorce, there was nothing that, like, something was going to happen. God was going to, like, burn the whole courthouse down or something. Like, I just knew that we weren't going to get divorced. So I wasn't worried. I just had so much faith and so much joy and happiness. I felt like I was me again. I was, so happy again. I was posting YouTube videos. Denial, that stage for me, allowed me to function, allowed me to be me again. It allowed me to be happy. There was a little bit of sadness in there. I was still, before, and the only time that I felt that joy was when I was praying, was when I was with God. When I was at work, when I was actually at work, I was crying all day. But once I hit that grass, I was walking around. I work in a corporate setting, but you better believe I was in that grass, barefoot, walking around, praying, like, worshiping God every day on my lunch break, because that is what kept me going. But that's what that stage looked like for me. I was in denial. I had faith that God was going to move, and I was not backing down. I was there. God had me right there, and I was pouring my heart out to God. I was pouring my heart out to Jesus, and that's all I needed was Jesus at that time. Or not even at that time, that's all I needed was Jesus. So that's what that stage looked like for me. Was denial, and this was like, from June to August-ish, and I kind of saw a shift in our relationship, which gave me even more hope. We started to kind of go to the park with the kids a little bit, and we went to the pumpkin patch and spent time with the kids, and things kind of started getting better. So as we got close to the divorce, we hit another stage. We celebrated each other's birthdays, nothing big, but he got me a cake, I got him a cake. Then we hit the depression stage. This was by far the hardest stage that I've ever experienced. This stage, we got divorced November 7th of 2019, and if you've ever, going into our divorce, I was so, like I said, I was walking on faith. You couldn't tell me anything different. We had, arguments here and there, but, who doesn't? But walking on faith, I was taking selfies on the way to the courthouse. I was like, I just knew everything was going to be okay. I'm like, even if I go in here and we get divorced, I know God is working. I know He's moving. I know He's going to turn this around. Everything is going to be okay. God is going to move mountains. God will show me the mountaintop. He showed me the mountaintop. Even though I don't see where He's taking me, I know, or even though I don't see how He's taking me there, I know where He's taking me. And nobody could tell me anything different. Like, I knew my marriage was going to be okay. So I walked in there with a smile. I got cute makeup done. Like, I just knew everything was going to be okay. I signed in. I sat down. And I looked around and I heard all these people around me talking about their divorces and arguing. And if you ever sat on a beach and had the tidal wave kind of just like, and it like blow you back, like push you back, imagine that, only it being black, and it being death, and it being doubt, and it being fear, and it being confusion, and it being worry. I felt like a black tidal wave had just knocked me down. I went in there ready for battle. I literally, in my mind, was like, I'm about to go in here and fight the devil because I know he's going to come after me, but I'm ready. I wasn't ready. I was naive to how hard he was going to come for me. I was naive. I was naive to how hard he was going to fight me that day. And I had dreams. I had dreams that I was gonna be fighting. I had dreams that I was gonna fight. I was having nightmares. Let's just say, just keep it simple. But I should have known better. But he came hard. He hit me with a 1-2 combo and knocked me down. I sat in that chair. And I went from smiling and like, this is going to be fine, to everything is over and what is life and how am I going to do this and how am I going to do that. And all I heard was, he's never going to love you again. And that's why this is happening. That's why that's happening. And what are you going to do now? And he was just in my ear roaring. The Bible says he is there to kill, steal, and destroy. And he was not playing that day. Okay? And I wasn't ready. And my ex-husband, he walked up, and like I said, we were on good terms. He was like, hey, how are you? Can I sit there? Like, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I looked at the ground. I was stuck. I was stuck. I couldn't even move. I couldn't even breathe. I couldn't even think. Like, I wanted to be like, yeah, I'm okay, everything is fine. But I felt like the weight of the world had pushed down on my shoulders, and inside I was screaming, help me, help me. And I couldn't. Everything wasn't okay, and I was trying to pretend like it was. And then we got in the courtroom, and the judge was saying the most intense words, like, you'll never ever be ever again together again. Do you agree? And I'm like, again, I walked in there like everything's gonna be fine, we'll be together again. So I'm like, I can agree to that. And and I'm shaking, like literally, like trembling. So I just couldn't even. That day, depression hit me like that. In an instant, I went from it's gonna be okay to fear. And nobody tells you these things. It literally, you hear a piece of paper rip, I literally felt like you get married and two become one. I literally felt like a ripping of paper, like my soul had been ripped in half. It had been ripped in half, and it was the worst and most intense pain, intense feeling I had ever felt in my life, and it happened in an instant. And all I could do was sit there. All I could do was sit there. And I can't express enough how important support is. When you go through this, I pray you don't get this far. But if you go through this, do not go alone. I wish I had friends that were there to tell me, snap out of it, Whitney. You know you're stronger. You know the power God's placed in you. What did God tell you? You do not have the spirit of fear. But in my ear, I heard, you're never going to be okay after this. What are you going to do now? He don't want you. So, that divorce was so intense. That day, that one day was so intense. It changed the entire next few months. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. He tried to be nice that day and like tell me, I care about you. You mean a lot. And I was just like, I burst into tears, and I couldn't even function. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I was shaking. I ran off into the elevator, bawling, tears everywhere. Like, I ran home and my whole room was black, and I got in bed and cried, and we tried to talk after that, and it just was bad. And it's just like, I couldn't eat or sleep after that, and I lost 30 pounds. Matter of fact, I went from, this time last year, I was 173, and right after I had my daughter in February, I was 173. In January 2020, I was 116, and I only worked out for probably a month or two after I had her. So all the weight that I lost was stress, was from not eating. So from November to November 2019 to January, I lost like 30 pounds just because I wasn't eating. And like I said, it wasn't because we weren't on bad terms. Like, we even spent Thanksgiving together, so we weren't enemies. But the divorce process itself is so hard. People don't tell you, when you lose, it's like dying. When you lose somebody, they die, and you mourn them, and it's sad, and you accept it, and of course it's hard, but you accept it and you move on. But with divorce, it's like you mourn them, and then you see them again, and you gotta relive it. I had to see him, mourn him, and then relive it again the next day because we have a child. And then I have to mourn him and see him and mourn him and see him every day, so I never heal from it. So it was the most intense pain I've ever felt in my life, and I literally wanted to die. So after the divorce, those suicidal thoughts came back. I literally did not want to be here anymore. And I would curl in the bed and cry to God, help me, literally screaming at the top of my lungs because the pain was so bad. The pain was so bad. And I just feel like people don't tell you this. They don't tell you when you get married and they say two become one, you literally become one with someone. And when you divorce them, when they're no longer one with you, it literally rips your soul apart. It rips your soul apart. And anyone who tries to pretend like it doesn't, they're faking. They're pretending like it doesn't. Because when you really love somebody and you really are one with them, you can't just, it literally tears you apart. So for months, from December, and it was holiday season, it was Thanksgiving and Christmas, and my favorite time of year, his favorite time of year, our favorite time. So when a time that we would have been celebrating together, we just got divorced. So I wanted to disappear from this entire world, and it was the worst time I've ever had. And the only reason why I'm still here is because of God and my children. That's it. I had to leave work on numerous occasions. My manager came up to me and said, Whitney, we have people coming up to you, or coming up to me, telling me that they're concerned because all you do is cry all day. And we recommend that you go see a counselor. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. And she knew what I was going through. I don't know why I'm crying. I guess I'm crying because, like, it was so bad. Like, you guys just don't know. It was so bad. It was so bad. So I just need you to understand, like, the depression stage. I can't stress this enough. Support. I isolated myself. I was surrounded by friends and family the whole time. People from church the whole time. The day we got divorced, I didn't go to church for 3 weeks. Matter of fact, more than 3 weeks. Up until the mid-December, I didn't go to church. From the time we got divorced, November 7th until mid-December, I didn't go to church. I wasn't around anybody. I stopped answering calls. I isolated myself. Do not do that. Do not do that. Surround yourself with people. Force yourself to be around. Go see a counselor. It's so important. It's so important during that stage to seek help. And anyone that doesn't support you, anyone that's not there for you, that's fine. Just give them space to focus on what they need to focus on, but you need to focus on you. You have to get better. It doesn't matter what your house looks like. It doesn't matter what like, I had to let the laundry pile up and and just focus on living. Okay? So that stage is very, very, very important. Because you will get sad, For some people, it doesn't last very long. For me, it lasted about 3 months. So the end of December, God told me to cleanse. And when he told me to cleanse, I went on a 21-day fast. This fast lasted until, so in the end of, obviously 21 days, the end of January. That fast saved my life. And it literally broke off the hold that the devil had on my spirit, because I had no desire to stay here on this earth. And I tried so hard. Like, I didn't want to be a mom. I didn't want to, nothing in me wanted to be here. Everything in me had died. I can't express this enough. Everything in me had died. And I was praying, like, God, you gotta help me. Because if you don't, I don't know what to say. Nobody will. If you don't, and he said, cleanse. So I poured my heart into him. And I gave up everything in my flesh. Everything that my flesh wanted, I gave it up. And I poured myself into God. And January 29th, I believe, is when I was finally able to, I basically sent my ex-husband a video saying, I accept where you are. I accept what it is that you are wanting. And it took me months to get there. Which brings me to the last stage, which is acceptance. acceptance is the most rewarding stage because it means you're finally growing. Um, it doesn't mean you're in the clear. It did take, right now I'm at a place where I have so much joy and peace in my heart in God's rest that, but it didn't take me, it took me months to get here, a couple months to get here. Alright, sorry, my camera died. So, but yeah, it did take me a while to get to that place where I was accepting, what he had decided. And what really got me to that place was God just telling me, see yourself through my eyes. Let me define who you are. And he's been telling me that ever since then. And that's something that he's still right now, to this very day, working on me, rebuilding me as a woman. And I can tell you right now, I am not the same woman that I was even before I got married. I've never been who I am right now because God is redefining me. God is transforming me and molding me into who he sees me as. And it's what has really helped me accept the place that I am in my life and accept my divorce. And in January, God, helped me see myself. I started writing down, spending time just in prayer and asking God, like, how do you see me? How do you see me? Because my self-esteem had hit so low that I thought so little of myself. I thought so little of myself that, from my appearance to my worth to everything. And God's just like, let me define you. Let me show you who I think you are. And when I let him do that, my mind was blown. My mind was blown because everything that I thought that I wasn't. Everything that I thought that I was, not even in that moment, but my whole life, I wasn't. And had I not gone through this process, I would have never known me. I would have never known me. And I have so much joy in my heart right now because I know God, because he knows me, because I know me, because he has built me and is building me into a woman that I never knew that I could be. Because I know him in a way that I never knew was possible to know him. Had I not been through this process and had I not accepted my divorce, had I not spent that time with him and let go of what I wanted and really surrendered my marriage to him, he would have never had time. He would have never had me to himself to really be the potter and mold me into Whitney, the woman he sees me as. And because of that, I'm so thankful. Because I have grown so much over the course of the last month, 2 months. I have healed and transformed from things that I didn't even know were there. That he unmasked and showed me. Like, hey, you need to work on this. Things that hurt me that I cried about. Like, I didn't know that was there. But I allowed God, I took the time and allowed God to define me in that acceptance stage. And in that stage, I had to say, hey, I accept this is what you want. I know this is not what I want. It hurts me because, of course, I had these plans. We had these plans. But I'm telling you, God will always lead you to green pastures. God will always lead you to still waters. He is our Father, and he knows what's best for us. So if we just take our hands off and trust him, he is going to guide you. He is going to guide you. And in the last 2 months, God has literally given me pathways, what am I saying? God has literally guided each and every step that I've taken, and things haven't made sense, but all I've had to do is trust him. All I've had to do is trust him. And if I just did that, and took that leap of faith, and took that step, even if it didn't make sense, even if it was scary, he fit everything together every time. And I can't even begin. In so many different ways he's done this. And I'm so thankful, because had I not let go, had I not surrendered, had I not fasted and let go of everything in my flesh, I would have never heard his voice enough to know, do this, do that, take these steps, follow these directions. This is who you are, and these are the plans that I have for you. So now I'm at a place of strength. I'm at a place of courage. I'm at a place where I can lean on his understanding and not my own. Because when I look around me, I see chaos. I see things that don't make sense to me. I see things that are scary. This week alone has been a hard week. But I can look around and say, it doesn't make sense, God, but I know that you see far ahead of me. And even though I'm in this storm, I know that if I just look at you, and if I just focus on you, that this storm doesn't mean anything, that you are keeping me afloat, that you are guiding me in the right direction. And if Jesus is in a boat, the story of Jesus in the boat with Peter, if Jesus is in a boat and the storm is around us, he's sleeping. Jesus is in the boat sleeping, and everybody's in the boat tripping over the storm, and Jesus is like, why are you afraid? So when there's chaos around us, God is like, why are you afraid? Do you not know who I am? Storm, be still. So when I think about my life, and I get into my prayer closet, and I pray and I cry, and I'm like, God, these things are happening. He's like, I'm with you though. So I'm putting my testimony out there because I want you guys to know, like, I know there are things happening in your life. I know there are storms. I know you may be getting divorced. You may be going through a breakup. You may just be going through something right now that may be unrelated to a divorce. And you just so happen to watch this video. But I'm telling you, don't look at the storm. Allow God to keep you afloat. Allow God to keep you afloat. Keep your eyes on him. Do not take your eyes off of him. And I promise you, and I believe it with all my heart because I've seen it. I did not think that I would ever smile again. I didn't think that I would ever care how I looked, care about getting dressed, care about life in general. But God told me in January, in the middle of that fast, and I wrote it down in my journal, he said, keep your eyes on me and I will keep you afloat. That's exactly what I've been doing. And I'm telling you right now, if you just focus on God, no matter what storm you're going through, no matter what season it is you're in, no matter what's going on in your life, I'm telling you, God will see you through. He will lead you to still waters. He will lead you to a place of peace. So I'm really hoping that this video just touches somebody's heart, even if it's just one person. If it just touches somebody's heart and it gives you hope to keep going, if it gives you hope that everything is going to be okay, because I'm here to tell you, like, it's going to be okay. You're going to smile again. God is going to rebuild you. He's going to build you up. He's going to bring you out of whatever situation you're in right now, and it is going to be okay. There is a lesson in everything, and there is good in everything. You just have to trust God and find the good in it. So yeah, I'm hoping you guys find something good in this and can use it to, I don't know, help something in your life. Because I don't know, this situation that I've gone through, it's really changed me for the better. It really has. Like I said, I am not the same woman that I was before I got married, or the same woman that I've ever been in my life or I ever dreamed of being. And all I know is God is still working on me, and He is slowly making me a better woman day by day, and continually will for the rest of my life. So yeah, I just hope this video helps somebody. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.